Hello everyone, welcome to the High Tech Legion YouTube channel. If you don't know me, my name is Paul. Riddle me this, riddle me that. At 2560 by 1600, what gets 120 frames per second while playing the bat? And that is the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 780 Ti. This is quite arguably the fastest single GPU video card on the market today. It is packed with 2,880 CUDA cores. It has 3 gigs of GDDR5 memory. The base clock is 875. The boost clock is 928. There's 7.1 billion transistors in it. This makes up for, technically, a monster. Now, I know you guys have seen the other 700 series cards, so let's forego me putting it in front of the backdrop and showing you the card. So no changes from most of the upper level 700 series cards, as you can see. It has the anodized aluminum shroud. You do have your LED up on the top that says GeForce GTX. You have 2 DVI ports. You have an HDMI and a display port also. It is PCIe 3.0 compatible. If we flip it over and take a look at the fan, this is magnesium injected. You also have, as per your vapor chamber, this is copper vapor chamber with nickel plating, so we direct heat out a little bit better. It is SLI capable, and it comes at a price of $699. Now, you might be saying that might be a little bit expensive. Yeah, for an enthusiast card, it's probably around the right price point per performance. But the best thing about it is, if you purchase one of these quite quickly, probably before Christmas, you're going to get a 3-game bundle, and one of those games is Batman. So that's a value of maybe about 150 bucks. So just think about it. This or a competitor, you're paying $100 more for this, but you're also getting 3 games. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at what I've done with benchmarking this. We're actually going to look at a little video. I'm going to show. We're going to talk. We're going to see. We're going to hear some fan noise. We're going to check out the base clock to see if there's any throttling whatsoever, and then we'll go ahead and come back and I'll give you my final thoughts on the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 780. Okay everyone, what we're doing here is we're going to show you how the 780 Ti compares to the 290X, and this whole segment here is about throttling. So if you saw the 290X fail video, you know that the 290X throttles when it hits a certain temperature. So basically you're getting 1,000 megahertz, and then it'll throttle down to 800, 750, depending on how hot it is. Right now I have the 780 Ti at idle. We're at 36 degrees Celsius. As you can see, the GPU clock is set to normal. Everything is set on auto. Fan is on auto at 26%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up Heaven, and we're going to go ahead and put it in windowed mode. So we could bring this over here, and I will go ahead and show you if at all does the 780 Ti throttle. So are you going to get your maximum GPU boost out of this, or are you going to get a fluctuation? Is it going to throttle once it hits a specific temperature? So we're going to go ahead and bring this more towards the center for you so you can see it better. And what I want you to keep an eye on is, of course, the GPU temperature that is rising right now, the GPU clock, which is at 1020, and I'm going to go ahead and hit benchmark now. So bringing it back up, you can see the temperature is slowly rising. We're at 68%. We're at 43% on our fan speed, 44. We're at 70 Celsius. And we did have a little bit of throttling. It went down to 1006 megahertz from 1020 megahertz. So we had a max of 1020. Now we're at 1006. Fan speed is up to 48%. And our temperature is at 77. I'm going to go ahead and bring this back on a little bit more towards the end. We're going to have it run. When it gets back on towards the end, I will turn the recording back on. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at where the temperature is going to be. This Unigine Heaven takes a long time to run, so I don't want to sit here and create a 35-minute video just going over everything for you guys. So we'll go ahead and cut it right now. We're already at 81 degrees Celsius. Once this finishes running, we'll show you where it's at, what it throttled down to, and what the temperature is, and what the fan speed is going to be. Now, I don't know if you could hear the fan or if you could hear any noise. We'll go ahead and take a listen to that a little bit more closely later, but it is still fairly quiet even at 53% of fan speed, and we're at 82. All right, now we're back. We're just about at the end of the sequence of Unigine Heaven 4.0. As you can see, we're still at 82 degrees Celsius. Our fan speed is at 55%, and right now we're at 967 megahertz on the GPU clock. So you're only looking at about an 8% to 10% loss in any of the throttling. So what I'm trying to say is the thermals are a lot better with the 780 Ti than they are with the 290X. But in any case, as you can see, we're at 39.6 frames per second. Now, in our video with the 290X, I showed you what the second run, what's going to happen with the second run because of the way that it throttles. So we're going to go ahead and start this run again while I still have it hot. I'm going to go ahead and shut it off again as I did the last time and bring it back to when it's almost at its end, and we'll see what type of frames per second we have with the new one. And this is just to verify right here that it is 39.6 frames a second. So we'll go ahead and click close, and I will restart the benchmark just to give you an idea. We'll go ahead and bring up the Asus GPU tweak again. We're back at 1006. We're still at 82 on the temperature. We're at 56% on our fan speed. So let's go ahead and shut it off. When we get back towards the end of the sequence, we'll go ahead and show you what the end rate is and what our temperatures and what our clock speed. At the end of the next sequence here, and as you can see, we're at 82. The fan did crank up to about 58%, and we're getting as low as maybe 967 on the megahertz, which is still above the base GPU clock. So we really haven't lost much from the 1020. So let's see what we have on this one, just to get an idea. And right now we're at 39.7 frames a second. So as you can see, even running it twice in a row and heating up this card as best as we can, we really didn't lose any frame rates because the GPU clock stays fairly stable. So the thermal management is good on this card. The fan noise is very good. I don't know if you could hear that fan down there, but I will shut up for a couple seconds just so you can take a listen. And that's at about 58% what you're hearing right now. So if this is inside of a case, you might not hear it as much, but I've got it out on a test bench just so we could actually hear the noise and what's going on. And I don't want anybody telling me, oh, well, you got it inside of a case. Well, maybe, Paul, what it is you got too many fans in your case and that's what's making it loud. So this is on a test bench. I'm using an H100i. I got it on quiet. So you're basically just hearing the fan. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this benchmark here. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put this on manual for you. Click apply. And I'm going to crank it to 100. Okay. That's at 100%. I'm sure you could definitely hear the fan now. Inside of a case, it'll probably get whisked by your fan noise, etc. You're probably not going to notice it that much. Is it real loud? I don't know. I'm standing about 2 feet away from the actual GPU itself, and it's not that bad. So we'll go ahead and stop that. Our next sequence, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run Metro Last Light. I'm going to run the benchmark. The benchmark actually runs 3 times just to show you if at the end if we lost any FPS in each of the sequences. Now, normally what will happen when you run a benchmark, as the card warms up a little bit, you might get a little bit of fluctuation, but usually your first run is not going to be as good as your next 2 runs. Usually your second run is usually the best when you're benchmarking something, an in-game benchmark that has 3 segments. And the reason why they do 3 segments is because they know that the first segment might not achieve the correct amount of frames per second that we're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this back to idle temperature, and we'll bring up Metro Last Light. We'll take a look at everything. We'll run Metro Last Light, and then we'll show you exactly how that panned out. Now, the reason why I'm going to run Metro Last Light is because basically it's a game. Even though it has an in-game benchmark, it's a game, so it's going to mimic what's going to happen when you are actually gaming for quite a while. Now, this benchmark takes roughly about 8 minutes to run through the whole sequence because it runs 3 times. So I'm going to go ahead and have you guys look at this right now. We're at 38 degrees Celsius. You can see everything is set to normal. Everything is on auto. So I have not played with anything. We're going to run it at 25 by 16 on a very high quality with texture filtering of an AF of 4x. Motion blur is low and tessellation is very high. And I do not have PhysX on. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. Now, after this runs, it actually brings up a web page, and it shows you what your frames per second for each of the runs. So we'll go ahead and start the benchmark out now. I'll show you that it is starting, and we'll go ahead and run this. When it's about done, I will come back. When it finishes running, I'll minimize that web page. I'll show you what the temperatures are. I'll show you where the clock speeds are. Hopefully we get the clock speeds at exactly the right time before they start to lower when the game stops. And what we will see is if we lost any, if due to the heat and due to the thermals, are we losing any frames per second because it is starting to throttle. So I'll go ahead and shut this down. When it comes towards the end of the sequence, I will go ahead and bring it back up. And we'll take a look at it. We're just about at the end of the sequence. As you can see, it's run 3 of 3. It's coming to its end. As soon as they shoot this tank, it will end. Once the benchmark ends, I'm going to go ahead and minimize real quick so we could take a look at what our temperature and what the clock speeds are before they go ahead and take a dump, since we're not using the GPU at all. So it should end here in a second, and it'll actually bring up the web page with the statistics on it. Okay, let's dump that. All right, so basically we started at 1020. Our minimum was 980, as you saw, as when I clicked it down. We're running at about 70. We were running at about 78 Celsius with this. And now let's go ahead and bring up our frame rates. As you can see, run 1, our average frame rate was 48.8. Run 2, 48.31. And run 3, 48.7. So technically we were within a margin of reason there where the frame rates did not drop that much. So our average frame rate was 48.33 total. The highest that the fan got was about 53%. So I'll go ahead and lower this, and we'll go ahead and continue with the rest of the review. Even outside of a case, the fan at 100% was bearable. But as you saw in the video, with our testing, we found that the GPU does not throttle very much at all. So you're not getting that downclocking when it reaches its maximum operating temperature. It maintains a temperature of about 83 degrees Celsius, and you're only losing about 25 to 35 megahertz on the boost clock. Now, as I said before, the boost clock on this is rated for 975. Our boost clock actually went to 1020. So it has a better boost when it's cold. The lowest we got to was probably 980 in that video. So it's still way above the 928, which is the boost clock ratio for this card. So I don't consider that too bad. We also maintained a specific amount of performance. The performance stayed the same. There wasn't that much of a variable when the actual card got hot. And that's what's important about purchasing an enthusiast level video card. You don't want your card to throttle. You don't want it to heat up. Excessive heat means more leakage and more damage to the silicone over time. Nothing is manufactured to run hot and last. We don't want that. So with GPU Boost 2.0 and NVIDIA's new performance balancing for this card, we saw that we could maintain decent GPU clock speeds as per the GPU Boost without losing a whole ton to drop our performance even while the card was heating up. Or just say if you were playing for 3 or 4 hours and you're in the middle of a game and you're wondering why your card's lagging all the time. We don't want that to happen. Now, compared to its competitor, which I feel has a little bit of a problem with their thermals, we also have to look at one major difference between these two cards. When you purchase an NVIDIA 780 Ti, you're getting a reference board if you choose to purchase a reference board, but you're getting all the extras like the anodized aluminum shroud. You're getting a better fan. You're getting better cooling. These are things that NVIDIA put on their reference board to make it appealing to those who might not be able to afford a premium when it comes to purchasing the card. Hey, at $699, that's a hefty price, guys and girls. So, what did AMD do? with their 290X. They put a plastic shroud over it. They use their normal heat sink that I've seen them use since the 5000 series cards on their base model cards. They're using a fan that sounds like a jet engine, and it doesn't seem like they changed their fan configuration or even changed the actual fan since I've been reviewing AMD cards, not specifically ATI, but AMD when they transferred over to AMD. So you're looking at a price point right now. Most of the AMD cards are $579 because they're including Battlefield 3 with them. It's very hard to find the 549s. So in any case, they're really making it plain Jane. You're getting a plain Jane model if you buy a reference board from AMD. So basically what I feel AMD is doing is they're leaving it up to their partners to go ahead and make their card better. But why? Because most people who can't afford maybe that premium will buy a reference board. Now let's talk about GPU boost. In the past, when GPU boost first came out, the card did throttle a little bit. Even the aftermarket cards with their nice coolers on them and stuff, it still allowed for a little bit of throttling on the GPU. Now, it was more than what we saw today, but not as much as we saw in my video about the AMD Radeon 290X. So the first generation GPU boost, first generation, well, they're saying a second generation power tune with AMD, but have we really seen power tune much with AMD? No. So can the manufacturers create an aftermarket product for the AMD without having the GPU clock go ahead and throttle down as much as it is on the reference board? In any case, we're really not here to talk much about that. We're talking about the 780 Ti. If you look at the benchmarks, you'll know that it even crushes the Titan. Not by much, but it beats the Titan. Because it has all of the extra CUDA cores, it has more clusters in it. So you're getting more bang for the buck at the price. We're going to go ahead and give the 780 Ti an Editor's Choice Award because I do feel that this card has the right balance between performance, power consumption, price, and temperature. So remember, everyone, please visit us at hightechlegion.com for the full review. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and like this video, and go ahead and watch a lot of the other ones. We're making some changes. Yeah, I'm going to buy a new camera. Don't worry. It's getting there. Again, it's Hightech Legion, HITECH Legion.com. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/HTL Reviews. If you like to tweet, twitter.com Hightech Legion. And of course, as always, stay thirsty, my friends. I will see you the next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.